Thank you very much for the platform. I took note that there were a couple of questions that were asked, and the Petroleum Commissioner touched on them. So I'll briefly expand on some of the comments that she has said. But firstly, I'd like to echo the sentiments of the Honourable Minister that PETROFUND was a vision which was strategic, and it's serving us very well right now. So we agree that it is indeed a very good tool to use to train. Now, I also want to echo the sentiments that in terms of the governance of the PETROFUND, the Ministry of Education, and I'm saying Ministry of Education because the Ministry of Education, when I started running the fund, was one, and it has changed back and forth with time. And the Ministry of Education, and this is what we call it when we are sitting on the board, because it can be two, it can be one at a given time. The Ministry of Education has 2 seats on the PETROFUND board to accommodate the change that we've experienced over time. And the current representation of the Ministry of Higher Education, Training and Innovation on the PETROFUND board is Dr. Natasha Chek Yusuf. Just wanted to comment that our governance structure gives a platform of 2 dedicated seats of the Ministry of Education on the PETROFUND board. Let me now touch on the several questions that were mentioned. I'll start with a comment that the TVET sector is ready to host skills for the oil and gas industry. We welcome that, and thanks very much. However, I want to just mention a few things. We are advising that oil and gas training is specialized. Please take note of that. That yes, you may have the building, but you are going to need to have the personnel to train. You are also going to need the necessary instrument to be able to train. And oil and gas machinery that are used are not just artificially intelligent, they are extra artificially intelligent. So you must make sure that should you go venture into that, take time to understand that the machinery requires a super intelligent. The other item we need to appreciate is the fact that these machinery are patented. So organizations don't necessarily release them just like that. So there must be an understanding of how you can create partnership and relationships on accessing those machinery, particularly if you are able to buy them. I'm also happy to report that next week in the country, the biggest supplier of drilling technology, a company called Drilling Systems, will be in Namibia. So we are happy to share a platform with them so that you can hear more of what they do. Want to now move on to retention of skills. A very important point that was raised on retention of skills, and the question was, is there a strategy, is there a policy? We don't deal with policy, the government deals with policy, so I'll leave that to the Honourable Minister and the ED to deal with. But I can just highlight some of the strategies that we've put in place as the PETROFUND to retain the skills that we have trained, particularly those where we've invested in specialization. I've commented that there are 68 of them. Currently, we have nearly 5 students in the UK completing their master's degrees, and we'll be sending off another 6 next week. What have we done to retain these skills? We made sure that we had an internship program that we funded. Each of our graduates were given a stipend when they secure employment with an employer, and the program was for 12 months. We still have that program. It has made it easier for all our skills to be retained. We also recognize that when the industry requires an additional element to employ you, in this case, I've advised you that you can't work in the industry without certification. We offer funding to all our graduates to secure offshore survival training, firefighting, as well as we pay for them to secure medical clearance before they go offshore. The other item of note, which is very important, is The industry has to move very quickly to understand how to remunerate these experts. There will be a lot of competition of these skills, so incentives would have to be adjusted going forward. However, there will be no need to adjust incentives if we oversupply. If there are more people that are looking for jobs, the market will sort itself out. The other aspect that has been mentioned, which is it's coming in as double degrees, it's something that, if I wear the hat of the industry, is something we look at suspiciously because we wouldn't want to have an engineer trained for 2 years in engineering and 2 years in geology, if you know what I mean. Because we are asking ourselves, what are you giving us? Put differently, you won't want a doctor to perform open heart surgery and train as a doctor for 2 years and as a photographer for 3 years. I'm giving you that as an example. So as you consider those items, just make sure you have the right balance to tell us as the industry that the skills you are giving us are ripe. They are not diluted. However, double degrees are a very important concept because we want you to grow your knowledge. If you are trained as an engineer, we now want to hire you as a project manager. We want you to have project management knowledge. If we want you to be involved in negotiations as an engineer, we want you to be a trained lawyer. If you are looking after projects, you saw the billions that we expect to manage as a resource. They will be managed by geoscientists and engineers as they are promoted. We want them to have financial knowledge. So yes, Sam, those skills have become very important. And let's not acquire them in a half-baked manner. If we can, let's make sure that we acquire good skills. It's the only way we can avoid resource cases, we can avoid corruption, but also we can run projects sustainably and also with very good knowledge. I want to testify that at some point I felt that I needed law knowledge. I trained as a lawyer, and I'm happy to say that I shared the classroom with the Honorable Minister. We trained as lawyers together. Another comment I want to make is engaging young people. Honorable Minister, it's a very, very important point that you have raised, that it's important to have engagements with young people to promote opportunities within the industry, to encourage girls particularly to take STEM subjects, but also to reach to those that are less privileged in our societies. We run career fairs where we do that. We are presently in Omosati. From Omosati, we'll move to Kunene, and eventually in the next 2 weeks we'll be in the Kavango region. Thereafter, time permitting, we hope to cover the whole country. If you do have learners that you want us to talk to about opportunities in the oil and gas industry, please don't hesitate to speak to us. We can work with you to share that information. Local training, very, very important. The Honorable, my colleague, the Petroleum Commissioner, confirmed that we launched nearly 7 years ago an MSc in Petroleum Geosciences at the University of Namibia. All the students in the program were fully funded by us. But as you can imagine, we were doing all this when there was no industry. So it was really challenging times. But we were of the view that the cost of training outside the country was prohibitive. So we needed to do something even if it was small. Now, in order for us to do that, we had to fund the technology used by the lecturers to train. But also we had to assist to bringing lecturers to deliver the programs. Now, as I'm saying here, I know my friend from NAST who has decided that I'm no longer his biological sister, I'm now his step-sister because I was unwilling to sign the check. Whatever you do, resources are limited. And as you can imagine, the mandate of the fund, which the Petroleum Commissioner announced, is to build skills in Namibia. So we are always balancing on what we do with the limited resources that we have. We don't have a lot of money as the fund, but we manage the fund in a very sustainable manner. So if you call upon and you've got good ideas to share with us, and we are able to help, just understand that we have several students that we have made a commitment to fund, and we can't miss out on that funding. But however, we understand that collaboration is very important. Lastly, what I wanted to comment is we will be announcing new scholarships for 2024. We will share those with the Ministry of Education, and please promote those scholarships. And one of the scholarships we intend to offer is an MSc in chemical engineering. So congratulations for introducing that program when the need was doubtful. It's one of the skills that the oil and gas industry is asking us to ramp up. So we will be funding students if they are successfully admitted in BSc chemical engineering. Those are some of the comments that I wanted to make. Thank you very much.